Childe RERUN is coming soon. Originally released on November 11, 2020, here is what we learned about him after 8 months of playing with him, and most importantly, why or why not you should pull on him on his upcoming rerun. To get started, Childe is a 3 out of 5 character, which means he is fairly strong and powerful. Childe have a great amount of personal damage and is a very good hydro applicator. His hydro application is so great that it is possible to overtake Xiangling and Kaza together instantly, which is one of its kind. Commonly, however, Childe elemental skill having a huge cooldown is regarded as a downside for him, but that's only true if you try to play him as a straight main DPS. Childe should be played in quick swap team instead, and by properly rotating throughout your team, his elemental skill cooldown actually become a non-existent issue, which also means that none of Childe constellation are required at all, and he can be played perfectly fine as C0. Him as C0 and him having C6 are actually the exact same, so this means that he is not constellation locked at all. At the moment, Childe is played in one meta team and one semi-meta team, with the meta team being the national team or its variation, and the variation international team being one of the strongest team available in the game right now. And the semi-meta team is of course the Firework Childe, which is Childe, Beidou, Fischl, and usually Bennett. It is important to know that in both cases, Childe is not a strict core member of his party, meaning that it is possible to replace Childe with another member. For example, in the Firework team, you can use Sucrose instead of Childe as a driver, while in the national team, you can use Xingqius to apply Hydro instead of Childe, making it Childe not a necessity in order to play these teams. It is even possible to use Kokomi in both cases, although Kokomi is generally less recommended due to having issues of her own. The Sucrose version of the Firework team, or more commonly is known as the Taser team, is often regarded to be a better version of the Childe Firework, especially after the Elemental Mastery buff in the 1.5 patch. Although usually it's ran with Xingqius, which is a heavily contested unit, and therefore it also doesn't have any healing in the party. For the Childe Firework version, it is common to run Childe, Fischl, Beidou, and Bennett together as mentioned before, so bringing Bennett here not only will provide you a great amount of healing, it will also allow you to vaporize Childe Elemental Burst for a huge amount of upfront burst damage. And you can also snapshot the attack buff onto Beidou to do a lot more damage on Beidou. And while it is possible to play with Kokomi instead of Childe, well, Childe in the Firework team will provide much greater and better damage as well as much better AoE, although of course you do lose the healing that Kokomi can bring. On the other hand, for the national team, Childe is generally a good upgrade from Xingqius or even Kokomi. Childe have better AoE damage and much better Hydro application than like Kokomi. Overall, in AoE environment, Childe is like a 15 to 20% damage increase when compared to Xingqius. With the release of Kazuya, Childe have an even much easier time doing big AoE damage than before thanks to Kazuya's easy grouping. However, for single target environment, Xingqius could outperform Childe, especially with Constellation on Xingqius, which is much easier to acquire since he's a 4-star where Childe is a 5 stars. Not only that, the newest variation of the national team, the Raiden national team, will only work with Xingqius but not Childe, because Raiden required deployable skill and would much prefer the more elemental burst heavy focused Xingqius. So the Raiden national team is often run with Xingqius, Bennett, Xiangling, and Raiden. It is not really possible to run both Raiden and Childe together, but once again, do know that the Raiden national team will lose in terms of AoE damage when you compare it to any of the Childe variation. Overall, whether or not you should pull on Childe largely depend on what you have available in your account, as Childe's biggest value is being able to free up Xingqius for your other team. However, for some player, this might not be a necessary thing to do. For example, other meta team like the Morgana team or Childe just does not require Xingqius. But again, for some other team, they're really dependent on Xingqius. For example, these are like Hu Tao, or in some cases, the Ayaka freeze if you don't have Mona. And they could really appreciate to have a second Xingqius so that you can run both of those teams on each side of the Abyss. For player who already own Raiden and would much rather just play Raiden National because you want to utilize Raiden, it's not necessary to pull for Childe either, because once again, it is not really possible to play both Raiden and Childe together as they both share a teammate like Xiangling. You could play Childe Firework on the other half of the party, but since your Bennett is most likely going to be tied to Xiangling, which is in the Raiden National, do keep in mind that you will be losing out Bennett on the Childe Firework team, and at that point, you're much better playing Sucrose. Nevertheless, Childe by himself is still a really strong character, and as mentioned in the earlier part of the video, he is still a upgraded Xingqius in the national team, which means that even if you don't need a second second Sing Juice, the performance upgrade alone from himself could be worth the primo. But ultimately, you should make the decision on yourself on whether or not you should be pulling for him or not. You make the decision of you should spend your primo or wallet. That's it for the rerun guy. Let me know in the comment if you're gonna be pulling him or not. And of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time.